Welcome students. Today we are going to start with the GBMS, that is the the database management system. That's the full form of GBMS, that is database management system. So what I've done is, okay, this particular video I'm going to talk and show things more in a practical way to you, how to use a database management system software. And there is a bit of theory part which I'll be you know uploading a video separately, and that will be provided to you as the e-content, so you can go to the e-content and watch the video. I've just taken some of the theory part of the chapter. So this particular video I'm going to show you some of the practical utilization of a database management system, and also I'm going to talk about the theory part as well, the things that are very very important. So DBMS, now what exactly is the DBMS? It is a software, and we require this software because for storing huge amount of data. Okay, so when I say storing huge amount of data, so you might think, okay, why do we require to store the data? Imagine now you might be using so many social networking websites, right? I mean, you are using a social networking websites. So you have a Facebook account, and kind of do so much of data that you upload. You upload your photo, give some comments on some kind of post and all. There is a lot of data that you put into that website, that is a Facebook website. So obviously your data is stored somewhere. It has to get stored somewhere, because next time when you enter your profile, you will see all your history, right? What all photos I uploaded, how many likes, dislikes, or I don't, okay, maybe there is no dislike or whatever it is. But anyway, I'm just saying that, okay, how many people actually have commented on your post or on your picture. So all that history is stored. So obviously it is stored in a database. So we require a DBMS for storing huge amount of data. Now imagine of a website like Facebook, which has millions of users. So there might be such a huge amount of data that they might require to store. For this purpose, we have a DBMS software. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to straight away show you how to use a DBMS software. And the Dbms software that we are going to use will be LibreOffice Base. So LibreOffice Base is a DBMS software. There are other softwares as well, other DBMS softwares, like we have MySQL, MS SQL, Oracle. So these are some of the um, kind of the DBMS software which is normally used. But what we are going to do is we are going to learn about the LibreOffice Base, which is also a DBMS software, but it is used to store some mid-size companies' data. It is not really something that you can, Facebook doesn't use, softwares like the LibreOffice Base. They use the backend as MySQL, or they might use Oracle, or they might also use, MongoDB, which is also another kind of DBMS software. So these are the softwares that they use, and LibreOffice Base is basically used as a DBMS software for storing mid-sized companies' data. Okay, so that's also one of the difference. So we are going to understand about the LibreOffice Base. So how you know to start that? You have to go to the search and simply type base, and then it will show you the option that is the LibreOffice Base. Okay, just click out here, and then just keep this as a default. Click on next, and then click on finish. And now it will ask you for giving a name to your database file. Now this is very important. Okay, the name that you give will be the name your database file will be stored with. So I'm going to give name something like Sunbeam. Okay, so that's the name of my database file, and the moment you click OK, you're going to come across to this particular screen. Now, please understand, DBMS, there are four very important elements that we have, and that is tables, as you can see out here, tables, then we have queries, then we have forms, and then we have reports. So okay, so these are the important elements of a database. So what are tables? Basically, tables will be holding the data. Holding the data means you will be storing all your data in tables. Okay. Tables will be having rows and columns, and you will be storing data in form of a structured way, that is in form of rows and columns. Just like an Excel sheet, you might have worked with MS Excel. In MS Excel, there are rows and columns and you store data in cells. Something of that structure you're going to find over here also. So table is something that is going to hold the data. You're going to store all your data into a table. One database, one database file can have multiple tables. Okay, right now there is only one. There is actually no table right now. So you can create multiple tables. Okay, and not just one table. And these tables are somewhere linked with each other. And that's the main concept of DBMS, that the tables are linked with each other. So first point is tables, the very important element, because all your data gets stored in a table. Please remember that. Then comes the next is the elements that are queries. Now queries means in general, query means question. I say, okay, I have a query. So basically I mean to say that I have a question. So queries, basically when we store data into a table, okay, then using the queries I can filter my data. Okay, so using queries we can filter the required data from the database. For example, if this table has stored data of students right from nursery to class 12, so I can write a query and I can only filter the data that I require. Maybe I just want to see the students of class 12A, so I can filter that data. Okay, so queries are basically used for filtering the data. You ask a question to the database and the database is going to give the answer to you. You ask a query and you get the answer, something of that sort. Okay, so that is about the queries. Next comes is the forms. So forms are basically a way we give a user interface. We give a interface to the user by which the user can enter the data. Right, you might have submitted so much you might have submitted many online forms, right? So it is something that you can just fill up the data and you can submit the data. Okay, just like we had the online exams using Google Forms. So even that is a form. What you used to do, you should just give some input and then you used to click on the submit button. So what was that? That was a form, that was an interface for you, and you were giving some data and you were submitting that data. So form is a way by which the user can enter the data, and that data will get stored where? It will get stored in tables. Please remember that, because all the data gets stored in the table. Okay, so form is a way, is an interface to the user by which the user can enter the data, and the data is ultimately going to get stored in a table. And then we have reports by which we can generate reports, summaries, right? Like the report card that you have. So we can have a particular kind of format, a report, a format that I require. I can generate that report. Okay, so these are the most important, these are the 3 or 4 elements of a database management system. Now what we are going to do is we are going to first design a database. Okay, we are going to design the table, I mean to say. Now why to design a table? Because for example I want a table where the table is going to store the data of a student. Okay, I need to design a table in which I'm going to store the data of students. So what all information students have? For example, registration number, roll number, name, class, section. These are the names, right? I mean, these are the information of a student, and I need to store that information into a table. So first, before I store, I need to define, I need to design a table which will have these fields, that is registration number, roll number, name, all that I have to first design, and then I can enter the data. So the first step of the table is you have to first design the table. After designing the table, then we can start storing data into the table. Okay, so how to design a table? Now there are two methods, that is create a report. Okay, if I just come to tables, click on tables, and it will show you that is create table in design view, create wizard, I mean use wizard to create table, or create view. Now we are not going to use the last two. We are going to make use of the first one, that is we are going to design a table from scratch. Okay, this is something like automatically there will be some templates by which you can design the table, but we are going to learn how to design a table from scratch. So I'll be clicking on the first option, and then we're going to have this particular window in front of you. Now there are two things, as you can see, that is, okay, let me just expand this, that is field name and field type. Field name means what is the name of the field. Okay, just like a registration number, so that's the name of a field. Roll number, name of a field, name of a field. Then class, section, these are names of the field. So let me give something like ID. Okay, ID means it is going to be a unique number, and now why do we require this unique number? I'm going to explain. And then I need to choose the field type. Now, what is the field type? The field type is the kind of data this particular field is going to store, whether it is going to store number or whether it is going to store text, right? If it is a roll number, then I need to store, then I have to specify here as number, because roll number means it will be a number that will go in that particular field. If it is name, so text is going to go into the field, so that is called as field type. So what I'm going to do is, the moment I type a name, this is going to appear in front of you. By default it is text. You need to just click over here, and then there is a down arrow, click out there, and I will take this as number. Okay, keep this as number. So this is going to be a unique number basically. Then what I'm going to do is, so this ID also we can say is going to act something like the registration number, which is unique for every student. Okay, then I'm going to say roll number. Roll number, and roll number will be also what? It should be number, because we're going to enter a number. Then I'm going to say something like student underscore name. Now please do not give space out here. When you give name to the field, do not give space. And then this will be name. So what kind of data is going to get stored into this? Text, right? So keep it text as it is. Then I'm going to say class. So class also I'm going to keep it as text, and section also I'm going to keep it as text. Okay, so over here what I did is I have designed a table, and we're going to save this now. And how many fields are there in the table? That is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. There are 5 fields in this table. But before I store the table, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this ID as primary key. Okay, so if I give a right click out here, and you can see that option, that is primary key. If you select, and now this ID becomes my primary key. Now what exactly is a primary key, and why we need to set this for a field? Primary key is a key which will be always unique for a student. Okay, for example, your registration number will be unique. Okay, two students cannot have the same registration number. That is not possible. If you really talk about one particular classroom. Okay, just one section. So over there, if you talk only about one class, roll number can be the primary key for that particular class, isn't it? Because in a classroom, there will be, it is not possible that two students can have the same roll number. Every student have unique roll numbers. Okay, but if you really talk about the complete table where we are going to store the data of all the students, we cannot make roll number as the primary key. Why we cannot make the roll number as primary key? Because in every class there will be roll number 1, roll number 2. So the roll numbers are repeating. The number should not repeat. Once we store the data in this particular table, so this table is going to store the data right from nursery to class 12, you can say. So there has to be some kind of unique value for every student. Okay. So this ID is going to do the same thing. It is going to be a unique number. Okay. Then roll number, student name, class and section. So what is a primary key? If that definition comes, so a primary key is a unique number for every student. More technically speaking, a primary key is a unique value or a unique key for every record. Now, what is a record? Record means one complete information of an entity. That entity can be, for example, out here it is a student. So, one complete information of a student will be called as one record. Okay. Now let us just go ahead. There are some properties to set out here. I'm not doing anything right at this point. First, let's understand the basic and then we'll do it. Now there is a close button out here. Click on that. Then it will ask you whether you want to save this table or not. Now what we did is we have designed the table. Please keep this thing in your mind. We have designed the table. Okay. So I'll say yes. And then it will ask to give a name to the table. So I'm going to give name to this table. And the name that I'm going to give is the student table. Okay, so I'm going to say something like student and click on OK. The moment I click on OK, you can see at over here, that is tables, and now we have created one table, right? So we have created one table. And now what we're going to do is we are going to double click on this table, or I can give a right click and click on open. Even that is okay. Fine. Now you can see that this table is open in front of you, and you can see these are the fields: ID, roll number, student name, class, section. Now what we are going to do is we are going to enter the data. Now we are going to do the data entry. So I will say ID as 1, roll number as 1, student name I can give any name. Let us give some name, right? Class is 10, section is 8. Then let me just come to the next. You can press after entering the value, that is 2, and then you can press tab and it will come to the next line, next cell or the next field. Okay, so what we did is change this. So what we did is, now this is one complete record, that is one complete information of a student. So that's record 1, and now I'm feeding the data for record 2. So you can give any number out here, just a sample data this is, and this is maybe class 11C. So you can see that basically we are entering the data of all the students. So what I did out here is I entered 2 records. Okay, and then if I close this, so it will say it will ask you whether you want to save. I'll say yes. And now if I again open this, and you can see your data is permanently now stored. So how many records did I enter in this table? 2 records. How many fields are there in this table? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 fields. That is ID, roll number, student name, class, section. These are the 5 fields. And how many records? 2 records. Records are, that is also called as rows. So this is the first row, this is the second row, right? And so records are also called as rows. They are also called as tuples. Okay, tuples, Tuples, tuples. And fields are also called as columns, and they are also called as attributes. Okay, so this is a table where we have feed some data. How did we, what exactly we need to do? First step is we have to design the table. We have to choose which all fields are there in this particular table. And also we need to choose the data type of the table. For example, ID was going to hold number, roll number is going to hold number, that is numeric value, students is going to hold text value, class also text, and section also text. So that all we have to configure first. We have to just define all that, and that is called as table design. After designing the table, then comes the next step, that is entering data in the table. Okay, so please remember these steps. And now I will just show you, if I try to enter 1 out here, again ID as 1, give some number like 56, and you can see the moment, you know, if I come over here and give some name like Abhay, and class as 10, section as A, and then I try to come to the next row, and it is giving me a kind of a message that there is an error inserting the new record. Now why do we have this error? We have this error because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to enter the ID as 1 which already exists. There is a ID with 1. As I said, ID is a primary key, and primary key should be unique for every record. That is very, very important. Since there is already a number 1, it is showing me this error. So I need to change this. I will make this 3, and now if I try to come to the next row, it is absolutely fine. Right? So that's the importance of primary key. So primary key helps us to uniquely identify every record. Okay, now more of the perfect definition is primary key is a key which uniquely identifies a record. Primary key is a key which uniquely identifies every record, which means every record has a unique number. That is what it means. Okay, so this is what we have done. We have designed a table. Now you can just go ahead and start doing this activity. Okay, so then I will just close this now, and now we have this table out here. Okay, and now you can always go ahead and design another table, so we can have multiple tables. So what we have learned today is we have learned what is a DBMS, and also there are some of the one more video of mine which I had recorded for class 11 or 12, but the theory is the same, so you can go through that video also. And over here I have shown you the practical, so please now go ahead and just do what I did. Okay, all that activity, and then we are going to move forward with the chapter. This is very, very important chapter for us because there are 12 marks weightage for this particular chapter. Fine, so that's it, and I'm going to upload one more video in the e-content. You better watch that also. Bye for now. Please do this activity.